Are we ready?
Yep.
I'm not. I'd like to welcome everyone to the meeting Monday, May 4th, Sutter Creek City Council. We would like to have a roll call vote, Pam, please, or a roll call. Yes, by name.
Councilmember Reardon.
Here.
Councilmember Feist.
Here.
Councilmember Swift. Vice Mayor Cirque.
Here.
Mayor Gunselman, absent.
All right,
There's
thank
quorum.
you. We do have a quorum established. If you can please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Claire. Unfortunately is ill this evening, so I'll take her spot and bear with me as we work through this. I don't do a lot of this by habit as she does. At this time, we will have our public forum. The public is permitted to address the city council on items not appearing on the agenda. Comments may not exceed 5 minutes. In accordance with state law, however, no action or discussion may take place on any item not appearing on the posted agenda. The city council may respond to statements made or questions asked, or may request staff to report back at a future meeting on the matter. The exceptions under which the city council may discuss and or take action on items not appearing on the agenda are contained in Government Code paragraph 54954.2. Public comment on any item listed shall be limited to 5 minutes unless additional time is permitted by the mayor or council. Is there anyone here who would like to address the council? Please, and let's make sure the mic is on. Sometimes. There should be a.
Yeah. Is it now?
Yes.
Okay. Barbara Combs, California Drive, Sutter Creek. And I do have a request, but on a related matter, I'd like to first thank the city for the work they did on Sutter Hill Road, clearing the brush and trimming the trees, et cetera, in an effort to make it more fire safe, because it was really overgrown. And so it makes a big difference, I think, and I appreciate it. So the request has to do with Greenstone Terrace. Greenstone Terrace is one of the few streets that I know of in Sutter Creek that's very narrow. It's 1 lane. But in addition to being narrow in 1 lane, it's very overgrown. In fact, the first part of the street has vegetation growing into the right-of-way, I believe, because it narrows the streets down even more. And I think that's the city's responsibility. Some of the property farther out is private, and I don't understand exactly what the relationship is with the city, but it's one of the most overgrown areas that I know of in Sutter Creek. And I'm asking that the city and the council support Dan LaFontaine and also our fire chief, who've both said they want to address some of this. And they're going to try to make an effort to do so, probably with the help of CAL FIRE. So that's all I wanted to say. And I hope you can help support that effort. Okay?
Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Nope. So at this time, we'll move on to the city manager's report. Tom.
Sorry, that was faster than I expected. Well, may the 4th be with you. Flip that before people saw it. There we go. So just some quick updates. We held a alternative analysis with Hydrosciences, who's our representative, and Schneider Electric, looking at options for the wastewater plant. I would say, we basically looked at multiple locations, 2 locations and 2 different technologies. It was a pretty long, extensive discussion. So just want you guys to know that's happening. You can rest assured we're looking at like all the options and costs and operational costs as well as construction costs. No, it's like an internal design discussion. And then continuing to push AWA and Rancheria to come to an agreement on this sewer line expansion. I thought it was going to be moving forward and then it's kind of stalled out again. So I'm gently prodding to try to keep it moving. And then we had a meeting with the construction team on Valley View Commons, which is the Danco project. They're going to be mobilizing. They're going to have, people on site very soon. And we should be expecting impact fee payments by June, including a pretty large payment for the sewer line expansion. And then it should say battery, not batter. There's a solar and battery decision we're going to have to make in the summertime. And we did receive a grant from PG&E, which has a requirement to sign a construction agreement by September. And so we're looking at options of, do we sign the contract and actually begin construction, or do we sign an agreement and then delay the construction for a period of time? And there's kind of trade-offs with both approaches, but
Either one of those satisfy the requirements for the
yeah,
money?
yeah. And there's time value of money too, and construction costs go up over time. And so, and then this pictures here, on April 23rd, we had a graduate team of students at USC present their strategy for Sutter Creek. I thought they did quite well. Basically, it was a competition. They didn't win, but and we were the only rural city. The city of Riverside won. There were a lot of big cities there in Sutter Creek.
How many total cities were?
So there were 7 cities selected. So there were 7 teams, and they basically had to write a staff report and give a council presentation to the judges. I'm trying to get them to either present in person or over Zoom at your next meeting, so you guys will see what they presented.
That'd be great.
Yeah. And then there was we've also been talking to Sacramento State about some of their innovation programs, and they've been, again, very interested in helping support us. So there was an event last week in Rancho Cordova. It was interesting. I went to see it. We were talking about holding one potentially here in the summer. So they had about 25 people show up and a speaker and just kind of general networking. And then I do have an update on the dispensary. The company has said that they will be submitting an application potentially as quickly as the end of this week. They have a conditional lease on the Umpqua Bank building, and they're putting together their submission. So we'll see that when it comes in.
Tom, is it appropriate now? I've received some questions from people didn't think they were going to be able to make it this evening. Would now be a time related to the dispensary to bring those up, or?
Yeah, I don't have much more than I told you, but if you have
Okay.
questions.
One of the questions is, how and will Embark's application be made public for review?
Yeah, so once it's deemed complete, it'll be in a report that goes to the Planning Commission.
Okay.
So it'll go to the Planning Commission first, and then it would come to the council. And the Planning Commission, we've had some internal discussions on what the process would look like. They would have a discussion about the land use, the site plan, the zoning. And a lot of the questions I'm hearing from the community around operations, security, the business relationship, if you will, that would come to the council. That's not really the purview of the Planning Commission.
Okay, then the other question is, will there be a council meeting where the change in the city ordinance is discussed? before any discussion approval of the embark plan.
So
Yeah.
that's what will go to the planning commission, and their recommendation will come to you along with the rest of the development agreement.
Similar question, and Derek, this is just as much for you. So we have an ordinance that prohibits commercial cannabis sales in the city limits. Yet we're about to start processing an application from an applicant who wants to open a cannabis sales. Are we putting the cart before the horse? Is this, what's the procedure here?
The procedure is that the applicant will request what we call text amendments as part of the package of approvals that it proposes. And so there would be a development agreement, a permit, but we would have to amend the zoning code and also the section outside of our zoning code that does prohibit dispensaries. So essentially the council would be asked, again, we're just processing this. Ultimately, the decision would be yours, but the proposal would be that there be a sort of a one-time exception to that, and that language would have to be amended in our code to allow that, which I will draft. And again, I'm not telling you have to approve this, but I would draft it in a way that if it's the pleasure of the council to approve it after all you hear and all the review we have to go through, that would be done by me.
So, oh, go ahead,
And like
sorry.
any development agreement, they would make a deposit to pay for the time that takes.
So my question then is it within the procedure to approve this for only one company? If there's another dispensary saying, well, wait a minute, we want to compete for that one spot, it doesn't seem like that is going to be allowed. So this is for solely this dispensary at that site.
That's what, and again, I want to emphasize what the applicant is proposing would have two components that have a legislative component, which is a change to our code that would carve out one exception for them.
Okay.
And I would draft that language. Again, not suggesting that you must approve that. That's ultimately your call, but I would draft that. And then they would have the traditional permit and development agreement that would be added. So the way it would be proposed and the way it would be presented to you, as we understand from the applicant, is they're proposing a carve out for them, essentially creating one use of that nature. And the idea is that, if you're going to allow that, only having one use, given the size of the city, is the appropriate thing. I'm not endorsing that by any stretch. That's your call, but that's how it would come to you. If others want to propose this, or if you want to look at a more holistic revision to the ordinance, that's your pleasure too. But that's how it would be proposed. And so we will move it up to the planning commission and then ultimately to you for a decision if the applicant follows through with the application.
So that's all in one package deal, the modification to our current ordinance and the application is
Yeah.
all in one.
That's
So that's why I'm asking, is that unusual to have a specific ordinance change for a specific business and not open it up for bid or competition from other companies?
in the cannabis world, it's not unusual. In the normal land use world, it is a little bit unusual. I think the idea, and again, I'm telling you what I understand, not what I endorse personally. The applicant is proposing to be the sole source because, under their view, it would not be possible to have competing uses. And there are a lot of cities that do limit the number, and some even limiting to one use. But there are some cities, just to put it out there, that have created a lottery system. So they have allowed a certain number of cannabis uses within their city, but they've created a lottery system whereby you get to be the applicant by luck of the draw. That's what other cities do. If in the review, that's something that your council wants to explore, that would be something that you would want to share with us. But for now, we're bringing you the only application. This is the only applicant we know of that is serious about bringing this to you. And we have a ministerial duty to bring the application forward. But I again want to emphasize that you're and we're a little bit off agenda. So,
Yeah,
but all I want to say is that
It kind of.
you're going to have to make some pretty significant policy decisions in addition to just looking at this one site. And
Okay.
that, but we're not ready to make those decisions yet. I'm just giving you a preview of coming attractions.
That actually is very helpful the way you explained it. Thank you, Derek.
Well, one thing I'd added, you think about like a development agreement for a golf course, it's similar, right? The property owner could come have a development agreement for Gold Rush. Somebody else bought land and they wanted a golf course, they would have to do the same thing. And you'd have to decide if you wanted 2 golf courses in town or not.
I think the difference is there's no county ordinance prohibiting golf courses.
Well, the county ordinance has nothing to do with the city. You guys
Well,
do the city.
that's what I'm
ordinance.
saying. There's a difference. Anyway,
Well,
let's go.
and this isn't an endorsement, but it is legal in the state. I wanted to add something with regard to the limitation is it feels a little bit similar to hard liquor licenses that beer and wine ones are, anyone can apply. Whereas hard liquor, there's a certain amount per area. So it's kind of similar.
So just moving on. So on
Thank
the
you.
code enforcement front, we did receive some recommended changes from Cole Huber. So we're kind of looking through those and going back and forth a little bit. And then it will be part of your draft budget again, some funds to actually help us go after some enforcement.
Will you provide additional clarity on what the changes are going to be and
Yeah,
what
I
kind
mean,
of
they
impact?
would have to come to you guys
Okay.
if we're going to make any ordinance
Yeah.
changes. I can say broadly, it's around some of the definitions of public nuisance and
Uh-huh.
other kinds of enforcement issues other than just rubbish and weeds. So things like standing water, for example, could be a health issue.
Uh-huh. Good.
And then on the capital projects, again, we have an item on the agenda tonight. And then I wanted to thank Councilmember Swift. We got a grant application together for a lot of the Monteverde projects that's going to be submitted.
Fabulous.
And then some things from around town. Again, AWA did some work on Eureka Road and that has been patched. If you guys have been on Broad, you can see the sidewalk has been repaired there. We're happy that that one is done. City employees have been doing more patching. Is this with that new material? It's 2. On Church and Main Street. We had a good turnout for the duck race and Public Works and PD were both there helping staff the event. We're continuing testing the city website so that hasn't gone live yet.
Tom, I'm sorry,
Yep.
but before we leave that street, at one point, we had talked about using some of the Measure P money to pave the entire road. Can you give us an update on what's
Yep.
going on with that?
Yeah. So again, AWA had some issues with their contractor. It's not clear if they're going to go out to bid or not, but they will pave the whole road. And at that point, we will have to pay our share of that.
Okay.
So those funds will likely stay reserved and just roll into next year's budget. We probably won't pay until we're in the next fiscal year.
Okay. And everything we're going to be looking at tonight later on comprehends that. It's holding that money of.
That was $40,000
Yes.
that would roll over.
Cool. Thank you.
And then we've been doing a lot of things around the pool. So we've been interviewing lifeguards. I think we've got a pretty good group. We'll talk about the pool item later tonight as well. We started selling pool passes and lessons today. And then on the event front, Mother's Day is coming up. So we have the Mother's Day carriage rides. Our first Police Foundation dinners on May 22nd. Trash to Treasures, the Italian picnic and parade, Foothill Conservancy Feast, and we're gonna have our Sutter Creek pool party for the third year on the 4th of July. And then your agendas are filling up. So the safety element will be a pretty minor item. That's the local hazard mitigation plan that you guys already passed. Needs to go to Planning Commission, then it has to come back to you guys. Our audit's been delayed a little bit, but that'll be coming to you guys soon. Tonight you have a early delinquent sewer list, but then there'll be a public hearing. Also, I'm looking at an economic development update, potentially in your next meeting, along with the USC students. And then the short-term rental ordinance is going to the Planning Commission next Monday. And depending how far they get, that would then come back to you guys. I think Derek's working on the surveillance ordinance and then those code enforcement changes that we mentioned earlier. And that's my update. Do you guys have any other questions?
Not I, thank you.
The short-term rental ordinance, that's going to the Planning Commission, that's essentially, I mean, I went on the website and saw that the printout, it's just an update of what we talked about last week. I mean,
Yeah,
so it looked
basically the
like,
directions you sent to them
Yeah.
to flesh out some of the details.
yeah, it was just nice to be able to get updated and, hopefully that all goes well. Right. Thank you. Any other questions, comments, council? All right. At this, Jim,
Public comment or?
is there any public comment? After, thank you,
On Tom's report, yeah.
on Tom's report, on our manager report?
I don't think we usually do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
At this point, we'll have, a motion to approve the minutes from April 20th. If there's any corrections.
Yeah, I have, so Pam, in the minutes, when it's talking about the treasurer situation getting on the ballot, the motion that I made is characterized differently in the minutes than what was actually said. I did not motion that we would agree to have that position appointed as the finance supervisor. I motioned that we would put that issue on the ballot. Right?
Point.
And then we're going to decide who's going to, if, depending on how the public votes on that thing, then we'll make a decision about who's going to provide that function.
Thank you for the feedback.
So just to clarify, you voted that you would appoint it, but you didn't say who you're going to appoint.
Right. It would be an appointed position. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Anyone else? Do I have a motion then to approve the minutes, with the corrections?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Do we do a roll call vote? All
Yes.
right, Pam, thank you.
Councilmember Reardon,
Aye.
Councilmember Feist,
Aye.
Councilmember Swift,
I was absent. I abstain.
Vice Mayor Cirque,
Aye.
Mayor Gunselman absent.
All right, with the passage in the minutes, we'll move on to the consent agenda. First item on the consent agenda, was Mason going to also help out with this, or are you going to present sales use tax data access authorization?
I mean, these are on consent.
There's no questions. We can just.
Yeah,
Approve.
if there aren't any questions, thank you. Those, or if you would like to pull an item, otherwise, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those, Pam, do a roll call?
Councilmember Swift,
Aye.
Councilmember Reardon,
Aye.
Councilmember Feist,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Cirque.
Aye.
Mayor Gunselman absent. Motion passes.
All right. With that, we'll move on. There are no ordinances and public hearing. Move on to the administrative agenda. Big one for the fiscal year 26-27, the budget planning project priorities.
So if you guys got here early, you probably heard the end of the local tax oversight committee. We had a discussion on this item with them as well. And so this, as the staff report says, this is really kind of an overview of all the potential projects we're considering for the budget for next year. You know, as a reminder, there was a section on what was in the TUT ballot. And so we looked at all the capital projects and looked at sources of funding and kind of marked the ones that we thought would be eligible for TUT, as well as projects out of the enterprise fund and general fund, and then grants and contributions where we have those. So, you know, really, this is really to get feedback from you guys if you think the prioritization was right, if there are projects missing that you think are higher priority than projects on the list, if the things that you don't think are a priority at all. It's really just to get feedback and direction from you guys. And, you know, it might be worth just having a discussion as kind of maybe go through category by category. Sure. And then just to finish the presentation, couple of points here. Yeah, typically we do a presentation, they have questions, and then we go to the public and then they debate. You know, we could actually potentially fund all of the ones marked with TUT with the reserves from this current year, and then we would reserve all of the funds from next year. One of the questions in the report was, you know, we do have some really large street projects that are in the millions of dollars. So you could say do less projects this year and reserve more for next year. But again, just the way it's laid out, that's the way it
Excuse me?
worked.
Thank
So-
you.
So that's the end of my overview. Do you guys have any quick questions?
For the council?
Yeah, I can go to the public, whatever you guys desire.
So what I understand for the fiscal year 26, you're projecting to receive 432,000, and then with a modest growth, 606. So, and then down in streets and sidewalks, it says there's $40,000 to roll over into the 26-27 budget. So is that $40,000 in addition to the 588?
It's coming out.
Or
it's coming
holding
out of
out
that.
to the 606 for 2027?
It's so the top two lines there are money coming in. The 588 and 606. And then the rest of the lines are money going out. So the 40,000 was what we just talked about for Broadway that was scheduled for this year, but it didn't happen.
Okay,
So we're rolling it over. And then it would be 549 projects that eligible for TUT. So that total would be 589 going out.
and then just, I mean, to skip ahead greatly towards the end on page 22, this is minor, the total cost of all projects, it should be 2,092,365. Only a thousand. Going back to the beginning, it says at the end, I'd like to understand the projects will be funded in priority based on available funds and as we develop a more detailed project staffing plan. So you're taking that plan then is to take our recommendations and then back to the staff and then finalize projects from there? As part of the.
Yeah, I
process?
mean, all of these projects we've been discussing the whole
Yeah.
time, but depending on the funding level, you know, if you guys say spend all the money, we may just say, we don't think we can do all these in 1 year. but I don't think you're going to say that. So
Um, Sitting in at the end of the meeting, couple points jumped out at me that I had already written down in notes is I'm more on the conservative end and prioritize like have to projects, that we've either put off and now that we have enough to put in, but to carry over. And you've already said that some of our projects down the line are going to be the big ones. Potentially go for flat, potentially downtown, Main Street on paving. So I'm looking at all the categories and trying to say, well, can we save, 30 here, 30,000 there, 40 here, 40,000 there, to try to build up that reserve for bigger projects in the future that are going to have to be's. So I would like to be able to discuss
Yeah.
could be's.
I wonder, Julia, if, so as is, if Dan and the crew could do everything, we'd be with reserves of about 600,000. I'm just rounding.
Mhm.
What would you like to, what do you think is a number that you'd like to change that to? If that's not enough for this,
I don't think I could get to a number, but I know we've discussed projects and big
Right.
road projects, the
Right.
the wastewater, the road work there, the roads in town. So I'm not, and that's it's a good question, but I can't answer that because I don't know what those projects that we've talked about, we don't have, bids or numbers.
well, but it's millions. It's way more than
Yes.
we have.
Yes.
So we have to be, I think, and we're just having a discussion here, right? So I think it might be helpful for the council to, if 600 isn't enough, to think about a number. Let's grab another 100 this year and just give the go ahead to spend 5 instead of 6 or something like that. Because I think everything on the list, you're probably not going to be able to get it done. So there's going to be some coming off the plate anyway. And I'm very pleased personally with the amount that's in the reserve already after the short time that we've had this tax in place. So I think we can get there on these bigger ones, but I would support maybe an extra 150,000. I'm just throwing it out there for the council's consideration because I think it's important for us to provide staff some kind of guidance in terms of, well, we're saying that's too much, but we're not saying how much we're going to. So I think it would be helpful if everybody kind of weighed in on what's your comfort level in terms of how much do you really want to carry over beyond what's being suggested in the initial report from Tom and Dan.
I didn't have a number in mind. That's hard for me to vote on or agree to now, but maybe for direction to staff to really go through those and find out what's like truly necessary and what we can cut out and start cutting projects that aren't as imperative. And the first one for me that I know in my mind, doesn't take precedence is the Crestview sidewalks, because I walk around there all the time and I've never noticed a problem. And even with just the lift, I've never had a problem. I walk there every day. So just little things like that we could postpone in order to save for the future.
Uh-huh.
And under streets and sidewalks, the Mayor Street, it says accounted for as part of I&I projects, so 15,000. And then the next item, number 12, accounted for I&I projects, 5,000. So are you looking at $20,000 then out of the TUT or just being
No.
another category?
It's one or the other. It's either you pave just the top part of the road or you pave the whole road. But with our current collection system money, it's not going to happen. So it's going to get cut out. Just to let you know.
So 11 and 12 are,
Good to know. So we can just take
so
11
and
12
12
off.
are gone? Or
Good.
Is that what?
Unless we can find some way to do it really cheap. Yeah, they're probably not going to make
Right.
the cut.
Fair enough. So we can ignore that.
I do agree with the number one priority of the Sutter Hill, though.
Yeah, we're getting most of that money from ACTC. I had a
Yeah.
question on that one, though. I know that I know that we, in the beginning, we talked about, maybe sidewalks and that there was concern that that would cost too much money, but I never heard exactly how much money is it? Do we know how much it would be?
So a couple things on that. So the county has gone out to bid for 2 roads recently, and bids have come back in at 50% of what the engineer's estimate is. So I don't know what's going on with that. I've never seen that before. But it looks like projects are coming in below cost. I don't know. But
Which two?
I forget what roads the county was going for, but
Are you talking about the ACTC pilot programs with?
no, I'm talking about roads that the public works director for the county has gone out for bid.
Yeah.
And his engineer's estimate was like 500,000 and he got it for like 300,000. So I
Wow.
mean,
Yeah.
apparently
Kind of anecdotal that we're hearing they're coming in low.
I see. Right.
But the question about sidewalks, I think we did get a number, it was quite a bit, like
yeah, the sidewalks was not
$1.5 million
it's not really
or
feasible.
something.
Yeah.
So then we said,
Yeah, but how
Look-
much? I mean, we keep saying it was too much, but I haven't heard a number and I'd like to know what the number
For the
was.
sidewalks?
Yes.
I'd have to ask Frank.
we-
I don't remember what,
we
I
did-
think it was in the millions.
yeah, it was in the millions. We did see numbers.
Yeah.
So we said, we'll just look at a wider shoulder,
Okay.
and that's part of this bid. would
That's
be a
part of
wider
this bid.
shoulder.
Right.
We had some areas of the road where we're going to have to reconstruct rather than just an overlay.
Yeah.
So we actually set up the bid so that there would be just an overlay as the base bid and then an additive for the reconstruction of 3 different areas of the road.
Right.
Now we've also talked to John and he said that if the bids come in high, we can go back to him and talk to his board and see about getting more money for those. So we could have to use TUT money, but we could also have ACTC pay for that. But we won't know until we ask them. So.
Fair enough. Good.
The,
The main thing is that that's on the plan. To
Yeah.
Get some shoulders,
It wouldn't be a bad idea in my mind if we're putting shoulders to possibly put a bike path or something that's designated for cars to stay out of if we're intending it that people can walk on it.
Is it wide enough for that?
No.
it's
No.
wide enough for.
No.
But it.
You'd have to do some major work on, the problem is one side's wide enough on the top and on the bottom it's the other side.
Exactly.
So either way, you got to do a bunch of earthwork. And once you start doing earthwork, you're not going to want to see that bid.
Right.
Let's just say.
Yeah.
Alright.
I would like to
Wish.
see if we're going to be prioritizing, I don't know how you want to do this, Tom, but the Gopher Flat speed tables, it says 2 cushions installation, two cushions either on one end or the bottom end, say of the curved spot on Gopher Flat. That's only going to stop one way. So I would recommend having 2 sets.
Oh, I meant across the whole road. Yeah.
So,
Two sets across the whole road.
okay.
Yeah.
So not just one, I was
Not just
thinking like
one.
a cushion on one lane and a cushion on the other.
No,
They
it
are
would be
2 sets.
two full
Good.
sets up and down.
I think that's a great project. I
Yeah.
support it
Yeah.
100%.
That and the Old 49, the pedestrian shoulder, I think is going to help the Kyoto Inn and the people down on the north side of town being able to access coming in. And then the other, and I think Dan, you and I, and I'm trying to remember who else went, the Main Street crosswalk at Gopher Street.
Oh, yeah.
Being able to, so you're talking about moving that crosswalk.
Moving the crosswalk out, changing the ADA ramp where it goes to a
Exactly.
new place.
Great.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Where we,
Again-
can you elaborate on that one a little bit more?
So if you come down Gopher Flat and if you stop at the stops before the crosswalk,
Right.
you can't see the traffic coming either way. So you have to almost inch out.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And just to
That
see-
crosswalk.
yeah.
I
The second.
thought you were talking about a Main Street crosswalk that doesn't exist. That's all.
No,
You're talking about the
No.
crosswalk from the corner across Gopher Flat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, you do have, I do constantly. 'cause
Yeah.
I live,
you have
Yeah.
to
And that-
stop in the cross.
Have to stop in the
To be able
crosswalk or
to see.
past it to
Right.
actually be safe,
Right.
And,
Yeah, yeah.
and the problem is the ADA crosswalk in the sidewalk is before,
gotcha.
so that
Okay.
needs to be moved
Thank you.
out.
Big smiley face. Thank you,
Thank
Dan.
Mhm.
Anyone else regarding streets and sidewalks?
No, that's good. I appreciate the work.
Yes, thank you.
I think maybe Justin, we can go to public comments
Yes.
if that's
Yeah.
okay. If the vice
You
mayor.
would, if anybody would like to speak at this time regarding the priorities.
All right. Good evening, council. Justin Howard, Gopher Flat Road resident. I just wanted to speak specifically to the proposed speed tables and restriping. I just wanted to also commend council and staff for seeing this on the list. I do believe it's a strong step in the right direction. This is my, I believe, seventh appearance. I'm so happy for this one not to be public comment before because we're on the agenda. So super excited about that. That being said, wanted to emphasize something that I've been saying from the beginning, and now having lived at that property for over 2 years, just anecdotally, radar gun, talking to neighbors, talking to community members, these are all true. The speeding isn't occasional. It's consistent. So we regularly have cars going 40 to 45 into 25 to residential road with families, pedestrians, limited shoulder space, which makes the margin for error zero. And by zero, I mean death, because I am a avid walker, as is my wife, our 4-year-old daughter, all of our neighbors around us, 5 houses, small children, some of which walk or bike to school, also bike around on the weekends. And I've now counted more near misses than I have fingers. So again, this is not just a matter of if, but when there's going to be a tragedy there on Gopher Flat, especially disturbing just because of how close it does come to the elementary school there, as mentioned with that crosswalk. So just wanted to reinforce that. What really stands out to me is it's a relatively low cost project, relatively, so 12,000, roughly 12,000 for the speed reduction tables, 20,000 for restriping. I did about a year ago, did a little bit of a deeper dive into this, which I believe I shared with Tom, just looking at other rural cities in California that were having similar issues, and that price does sound right around par. So that's great. So again, like to just strongly encourage moving this item forward as a matter of public safety. So kind of together as one would make sense, speed tables and restriping. That will naturally change driver behavior, which has obviously been learned over, umpteen years of people driving up and down Gopher Flat. So appreciate council for including this, and just want to make sure that we keep moving forward and we don't lose any momentum on this. So appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I could mention something kind of related to this. So there's also under public safety, there's a radar gun. And then, our police department requested some help from ACTC on a prevailing speed study. So I think the council may know, but for the public, you can't use a radar gun unless you have an engineering study of prevailing speed. And then you can only ticket a certain amount over prevailing speed, kind of regardless of the speed limit itself. So not only are we looking at these speed tables, but we're also we have to have this prevailing speed study done first. And we need a functional radar gun.
Right.
And then we could actually measure speed and ticket people. So,
And I think if I'm not mistaken, ACTC agreed to budget $10,000 to help get that study done.
right.
And that's moving.
And that's not just for Gopher Flat, but it could be anywhere.
That's right.
Yep. So I think we got some good feedback, but maybe I'd suggest we go table by table and see if you guys have more comments. So maybe starting with streets and sidewalks. I think again, on the Crestview sidewalk, there is a company that comes out. Again, these are looking at ADA issues. And if a sidewalk is, I think here we're saying 1/2 inch separated, they would grind it down. And we've done that in other sidewalks the last couple of years. So Susan, just to your point, it might be fine for walking. Go back and look closely if you're in a wheelchair, if there are sections that you think are sticking up or whatever.
And I think, Tom, if I'm not mistaken, that becomes a bigger deal when litigious, folks want to get involved and perhaps look for opportunities to sue cities and earn more money.
We have an elderly population. You can get trip and fall
Well,
lawsuits.
there's
all
the
kinds of stuff.
obvious.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, there is this other issue that
Yep.
exists.
Can any of that work be done? Speaking of, I walk downtown occasionally, 2, 3 times anyway. Noticing the roughness and uneven, it looks like there's been some patchwork on our downtown sidewalks. But
We did the same thing there.
yeah,
We had the
but I have to say, if I look away and I keep walking, there's been times where I've hit, if I don't walk on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And I think it's right around, at the hilltop, right? So it would be just to the south side of that.
So number 9 there is on Main Street, but down by the bed and breakfast where it's kind of half greenstone, half asphalt, where there's asphalt on top of the greenstone.
Right. That's the one the folks came in and spoke to us about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And specifically for that location, is there any thought of trying to preserve the greenstone? That's,
I mean, we
think
looked
is
at it.
critical. Can we do
Yeah.
that?
I mean, it's already half covered. It looked like somebody put asphalt.
Blacktop.
Well, we've been fixing it by putting little pieces of asphalt, but
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm hesitant to put asphalt over it because the limestone is nice,
Exactly.
but yes,
Yeah.
it is a tripping hazard too. So it's kind of a tough one.
But like Jim's saying, is there a solution that, deals with the limestone and reuses it or resets?
Greenstone, actually.
I mean, the greenstone.
Yeah, I don't know yet. I have to look more into that, but
Okay.
yeah, that's
I'd
It is so good.
appreciate if you want to look at it, give me a heads up and
Okay.
I'd like to be there.
yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's towards the bottom of the list, so it may not make it.
I'm used to it.
That, but if, as far as like from ADA or wheelchairs, that to me is more like, there's probably more of a chance of that being an issue right there, just because there's so much more traffic. I mean, to be quite honest, not a lot of people even walk around Crestview
Yeah,
or
that's also,
roll around.
it's also way down the list. That's, number
Okay.
10. So
If we had it, I mean, I'm strongly
Yeah,
advocating.
it's one of those that
it.
the company has come out and given us free surveys. So they will give us surveys from everywhere that we have sidewalks. So we've already done downtown. We've done kind of, I think Crestview was the next one. And then we're moving over to, there's another area that we have. So we're systematically trying to go through every single area that has sidewalks and figure out if there's any ADA issues and then get a number on it so that we can bring it to you guys.
I think that one in front of the B&B really is pretty dreadful as far as the cost, and maybe that could be more of a priority.
In front of where?
The B on Main Street.
Oh,
I mean, I just have to look at it again, but after they spoke, I remember going down there and being like, whoa, that really is a mess. And as far as tourism and promoting it, that it's sort of a marketing thing to have the sidewalks be nice. Or very much a marketing thing.
yeah, Dan and I walked out there. If you and Jim go out there again, I like that stone too, but it just seemed like that was a place where it could be.
It's
Paved
been a
over,
tough
made
problem.
smooth.
We've been having problems with it before. We kind of go out there and we fill a little bit, but we try not to fill areas where the limestone is or the greenstone. So it's been a touchy repair every year that we've been doing it. So
yeah,
it is, yeah.
Do you guys want to jump up to facilities?
Facilities?
So, again, the duck race committed to giving some money to the Monteverde Museum this year, and we have a lot of other issues with that building.
Do we have an estimate?
Yeah.
For the duck race contribution for the Monteverde store from the benefit?
10,000.
I mean, I heard about
Yeah.
10,000.
That's the distance.
Yeah. So we
Okay.
have the Duck Race Memorial Electrical Panel on this list. It just I put the 10,000 there, but it could be anywhere. If we do get a grant from the Native Sons, I think we could knock a bunch of these off. If we don't,
I'm confident that we'll get a grant from Native Sons Historical Preservation Foundation, but I don't know that it's going to be $19,000.
right. So these
I
are
think it
kind
might
of,
be more like around 10,000.
okay. I think these are kind of in priority order. We need to stop the rain with the rain gutter, and we got to fix the wall and the floor. And then it's pretty unbearable with the heat in the summer, and so the HVAC.
Is that Native Sons grant already given?
No.
Because that could you put it, it's such a small little space, could you put a split in there instead?
Yeah, that's what we're looking at. A mini split, you mean?
And they're 15K?
Oh, yeah.
15K is for a regular HVAC. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know. We'd have to look at the historical for the mini splits. I'm just not sure if those qualify. But if they do, yeah, it'd probably be
Yeah.
cheaper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
way cheaper.
I think you could do a mini split for.
Yeah, I
less than that.
I put one in an Amador City old building that was similar, and it worked out okay.
Similar size.
Messy.
I think operationally it'd probably be better for that unit because it's got
Yeah.
two separate rooms that really need to be completely differently. But I just didn't want to not be able to do that and then have to come back to you for another 10 grand or something, for
Okay.
a traditional
That's a
HVAC.
conservative high estimate.
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, the bottom two priorities there, the roofs, they're both kind of beyond their useful life, but we'll do them when we can.
Do they have tin roofs?
Yeah, I believe so.
This one does. I'm not sure about the Monteverde. I forget what that one has.
I think it's tin roof.
Is it 10?
So, and then,
For the auditorium?
no, I was thinking Monteverde.
Monteverde.
I've never.
And
So would we then stay with that? Because that seems important historically. Tin.
Is the house behind here, is that the admin building?
yeah, that's the one we're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it leaking?
I mean, it's kind of falling apart.
I mean,
Animals are in there.
I'm surprised you, with that tin, you can go up and you put in new screws and you can.
It's really birds coming in under and
Uh-huh.
attacking the wood underneath and stuff.
Could this be a case where once you take the old roof off, it's going to be like a hornet's nest and there could be other damage in
garage,
there?
yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
That's always.
That's-
yeah,
that's what I'm
that's
thinking.
a real.
But it's,
Or a literal hornet's
which in
nest.
case it would be better to address now rather than, picking people out from underneath the roof on the floor. Any other comments on facilities, priorities, amounts? I like the way that it's set up. It's pretty clear cut, but I believe that the roofing, both for the administration building and the Monteverde store, should be up there in the priority.
Huh.
Because if you don't have a roof, you're not gonna be able to have anything else to protect.
Yes, moving on to wastewater, we've been doing pretty extensive I&I projects the last couple of years. This is dialing it back a little bit, but we do still have some critical, really bad sections that we'd like to take care of. This would come out of the wastewater enterprise fund.
Yeah, the 500,000 will be primarily for the collection system work in the creek this year. There'll be 3 projects in the creek. So
I don't know if you guys
Does
remember.
that, so let me get that right, what we had talked about earlier, that's part of the 500,000?
no,
That's in
No.
addition to?
there was like 4 other projects that we had identified that would save us money long term, but that was another 300,000. So we've put those away to another year.
But even at 5 the most critical projects, $500,000, and that, where it's stated that we've done about $1 million in each of the last 2 years, we're actually doing about only having to spend about half, a little more
Right.
than half.
Mhm.
And
So,
again, we're looking at funding the wastewater plant and kind of building up the reserves a little bit.
a priority, yes.
Yeah, we were trying to prioritize only the I&I projects. So the other ones are more maintenance, keeping us from going out and doing sanitary sewer overflows all the time.
Well,
So
I&I drives up the cost.
Yes.
Of the,
So that's why we're trying to hit
Treatment.
those as fast as we can. So
They
we,
should be prioritized.
yeah, get less.
Are we getting any information about the net result of the I&I, the work that we've done so far as it relates to building the new wastewater treatment plant?
Yeah, it's, I mean, operationally, we can see it because the flows drop off real fast. And so that you can tell that it's not, there's no I still coming in.
Uh-huh.
So it's coming in one big
Push.
flow, and then
Yeah.
it just drops away. So that's really good.
Yeah.
For the design of the plant, they're still higher than we'd like it, but we've convinced them that there's only so much flow you can get through a pipe. And so they're going to use that as their design basis.
Oh, okay.
So
That's a
whatever
good
whatever the
point.
size of the pipe is, that's what comes in, that's the max, you know. And
That's
so
a good point.
yeah, that's what we kind of convinced them of.
Interesting.
So,
Parks?
yeah, parks. You want to talk about the root ball thing?
Yeah, so for the creek the creek cleanup, this is to do all the initial surveys. We have to do all these initial surveys with a biologist. They have to figure out if species are there or not. They're gonna have to do a few surveys, and then we give all that to Fish and Game, and then they're gonna tell us whether a biologist needs to be on site every day when we do our projects, or whether we can just have them check it out before and then go do our work and then come back. So that will have a big financial implication on how much we can do moving forward.
I wanted to chime in with regard to this because when I hear people talking about it and they're like, let's clean up the creek and let's get everything out of there. And I'm sure the biologists know about a million times more than I, and they'll be there to advocate. But one of the things with creeks and reeds and ecosystems is that actually slows the flow. And when you clear out a creek, it's like a rush. So I'm glad that we'll be working with them, but I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah.
On how much speed we really want to create and how much runoff that will.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a creek, it's a natural waterway, and
What the problem-
it ain't the LA River.
But if you restrict the flow, allow the vegetation over decades to continue to grow and grow, you reduce the flow, and then it overflows the banks, and then you have flooding. So you've got to think about that too.
Yeah, it needs to be addressed, but um you look, I'm like the Lorax, I speak for the trees. But I know we have to address it. I'm not trying
Yeah,
to get people's
yeah.
houses to
Right.
flood, but and with the biologists, they will have their
Right.
recommendation.
So Dan, what do you think that 11,000, how much is that going to cover, do you think? Is it
The reports in the beginning.
just the reports in the beginning?
Just,
Yep. And that's next year. If we get that done, then the idea is be the year after that, we go to town and get the work, get it funded.
There's a chance it could happen this year. I mean, there definitely is a chance, probably in fall, that we could do some work out there.
Okay.
But it really depends on the reports
Okay.
and what they say.
Okay.
We need to put it in the budget though.
Oh, well, it would be like just regular construction stuff that we would do. You know, it wouldn't be a big project. So we would be able to rent a couple of things from Campbell, get our guys, go down there, do some stuff like that. So it's not going to be, I don't think the actual construction work that we're going to do in the creek is going to cost a lot. It's going to be all the permitting stuff that we're going to have to do to make sure that we're actually up and up.
We're not talking about dredging the entire.
No.
We're talking about selectively grabbing.
Grabbing some trees that we think are little saplings that we want to get out of the way that
Right.
impede flow, kind of that kind
Right.
of stuff.
The Measure P committee met just beforehand, brought up the issue of working on the creek that actually is not city property. Is that something that we need to clarify at this level, at the council level? And be able to make sure that any work that is done outside of the city property, either one has owner permission, for those residents that are on that side, or how do we address that, go
Yeah.
that route?
I mean, it's kind of a two-edged sword
Mhm.
because most residents want it cleaned out for flooding safety, for fire safety. And you have logs and things going down. So if if every private owner was responsible for their section,
It wouldn't get done.
potentially we'd have logs piling up at Pinotes and then flooding the city.
Aren't
And-
waterways public?
What's that?
I think, aren't waterways
I
public?
think there's an element of that too. And when they brought that up, I know I looked at it a long time ago and I just convinced myself that the city should take care of the creek, but I don't remember why. I will follow up with Derek.
Okay.
And, but again, it is this kind of shared resource and, you know, individuals can't go get this, fish and game permit.
Right.
You know, it really feels like the city needs to
Yeah.
take care of the creek.
And I wasn't looking towards like not going outside of the city, but just so
Sure.
if there are owners that we need to address or
Right.
contact.
And the flip side is, you know,
Form.
if all the owners own it
commitment.
but one and they want the trees left in the creek in their section, you know, are we going to do that? So it,
Right.
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah, because we usually get permission from all the owners when we go down and do even the weed eating. You know, we'll walk through and get everybody to be okay with us being
Yeah.
back there because we are on their property. So
Right.
but it's kind of verbal, right?
it is verbal. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a
it's
question like,
door.
if we were going to do this root ball project, do we get like written permission from everybody?
Yeah.
Um,
There's
You'll probably know if someone objects.
again, we get more requests to do it than not, right? Everybody wants it done and
Sure.
the city's done it. That's expected. You know, I think the other point was made is the city taking on liability by maintaining the creek. If,
Well,
if
you
we
may not,
don't do it, what
you-
liability?
you may not know it, but for a good portion of my life living here, the city put a bulldozer in the creek
Oh,
every year.
Hmm.
Until they
That
couldn't
made
do
my
that
job
anymore.
easier.
So
That could be part of the problem. Sorry.
no, it's not, Susan.
No, I disagree with you.
Okay.
There, like, if you harm a waterway, it takes a while to get back. I'm sure there's like some balance, but
Well,
like
right.
with modern
You-
studies, that isn't good for a creek bed.
Well, and then, the state of California and the Fish and Game agreed with you. All I'm saying is though, you've got these root balls, we go in every spring or fall rather, and just cut off vegetation, leave root ball. So now it's not a tree, it's just a big ball of roots. And,
Yeah, and that's what I meant. I didn't mean to be disrespectful. I just meant probably we're actually having to do more restoration than we even know because of what you're saying. Like we did this, it's like the forest. Like, okay, we protect the forest, but now they're too forested, right?
yeah, it's swung the other way.
Yeah.
And so maybe there's a happy medium, but we need to do something, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Okay.
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
any other questions on any of these park projects?
I had a couple. One is the number 7 and 9. So I don't
And
know
there's
if that's a
two
number.
fours, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, and that adds up to 8, which is missing. So I get it.
It was a test.
Kidding. Oh, the Sutter Hill Road beautification, are we talking about that stretch right at the bottom as you're coming
Yeah.
off Lower Ridge?
kind of
Or
right,
they just
right
clear-
across from Miners
Okay.
Bend, like that
Um,
frontage.
That and including Miners Bend, and I've brought this up before, that monument that's up on, I think it's Campbell's property. It's the Sutter Creek
Oh, the
Monument.
book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's the book, but there's actually that stone monument that's up there too.
It's
that
been there
has
for 2
the
years.
plaque.
2 years.
Oh, the
Yeah.
plaque, yeah.
That no one can read because you can't get there
Mm-hmm.
safely or otherwise. I would like to see that monument, you know, obviously it's for a purpose and reason and sharing the history and information of our town in a place that it can be appreciated. So I would like to bring that up again in approaching who owns that.
Yeah, I
The
would say,
natives-
is that
the
on
natives-
Campbell's?
It's on Campbell's property.
Okay, yeah,
And the
so-
Native Sons funded and placed that plaque. So I would start with I would suggest, Julia, that you go talk to Jeff Campbell. That's where I would start.
But if the native sons, anyway, well,
He is the Native Sons.
okay, got it.
past president and
Okay.
multiple years, so that would be the right person to talk to.
And then also Miners Bend, we've had a couple of reports from the public on just the lack of either maintenance or attention given to Miners Bend, yet on here, doesn't seem like we've pinpointed anything. Is that something, especially if that's a major parking area, being able to consider solar lighting there? I don't know. But somehow be able to make sure Miners Bend is taken care of.
The stuff that he brought up, I thought was operation more than a capital project. So
That's
Maintenance,
ongoing
yeah,
maintenance.
maintenance and capitals,
Ca-
like not
like
not
any other
capital
part.
spending. So
Right.
I didn't think of any
Okay.
project that I could
Okay.
think of for that.
Dan, I had a question on number 4 was the gateway,
Mm-hmm.
right? The irrigation and planting. So the problem I have and what I worry about is if, the guys come out twice a year or something and just weed whack everything to death, which has happened in the past.
Yep.
You do a beautiful job getting everything looking good, and then one day it's all gone
Yeah.
and it looks terrible for the next 2.5 months. So I would hate to spend this money and then have the same kind of maintenance.
Yeah,
happen.
my thought with that money was mainly for plants and stuff that and it would be more for flowers that come back every year, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Yeah. It is irrigated, right?
It is irrigated, but
But it needs
there's
help.
It needs a lot of
Yeah,
help.
I
Yeah,
think
there's
Isn't it broken?
there's little pucks all over and they just
Okay.
don't work. And so
I think it's a great project. I support the idea.
Yeah.
Again, I just want to make sure if we do it, let's not.
I
invite
totally
fellows out
agree
to-
with that.
to
I was driving by
Yeah.
yesterday and I was kind of appalled. So
Yeah. Right.
I wanted to weigh in on that as well. And thank you, Dan, when we went up there with regard to that park. It's really neat. And there's a lot of oak trees and I hope the baby ones are still there. So on that, as far as maybe not spending as much money up there, if the imperative just could be to keep the little trees, because
Mhm.
at some point that will be a gorgeous oak forest. And then if we do spend money on it, maybe really focus on drought tolerant natives.
The
And-
beauty, those little trees you're talking about, they've popped up, they're not irrigated and they just grow.
Yeah.
And they don't need to be.
Yeah, I don't think we should put money
agree.
into irrigation there.
Yeah.
Because they,
That would be costly.
With the trouble with the irrigation, that drip, you repair it, it lasts maybe a year. and
Yeah.
So I
it is kind of
I
a
would
awesome battle. Yeah, you're right.
do as much as you can with vegetation or plants that
Mhm.
don't need irrigation.
Yeah, they're just sprouting up, like you said.
Yeah.
eh,
So that
And
would be
then-
a category that maybe could come down a little bit.
yeah, I wouldn't spend that kind of money there because those, I mean, really it just could be a native oak forest and managing those trees, not like that they all like in one day, like they're gone and you're like, oh, because I think that happened by the high school. There was native oaks and then one day someone came through and cut them all.
Right.
And then possibly because there's this daffodil push with Emerald Tourism Council, we could maybe buy like 1,000 daffodil bulbs and
Yeah.
those are super low maintenance.
Yeah.
And
That's kind of what I was thinking for the wall of flowers kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
Some of that too.
Cool.
So the wall of
Not ever.
flowers is all just going to be wildflowers. That's not going to be watered or
No.
no drip
Yeah,
lines
just
or
wild.
anything.
Yeah.
So just to get clarity on Gateway Park though, and this was, I think, seeing this as a beautification project to support tourism and businesses.
I
It's a
don't,
little bit at odds with a forest there. Like, is it supposed to be a scenic picture
you
opportunity?
don't
or-
like native oak forest?
Well, I mean, you see the sign and everything. Like, what are we going for in this place? in
Well, does it have to
particular?
be one or the other? Can't we have an integrated solution that takes
Sure.
advantage of the native growth
Yeah.
Yeah.
and a little sparkle around it, huh?
Yeah. a little
And
bit.
I think that would be,
We've had, the water, especially this year and how long the poppies have lasted.
Right, amazing.
So the amount of growth up there, I think just the maintenance, where it starts to look ragged is when the weeds don't get pulled, or the dead stuff doesn't
Mhm.
get yanked out or cleaned out. So I'm thinking that gateway needs probably just more maintenance before we start
Right.
adding to it that requires more maintenance.
Because you're gonna end up with a bunch of dead plants.
So kill the syncopated water fountain.
No, expand it. You're misunderstanding completely.
No, and if it's an oak forest, it'll be beautiful driving in. Whereas if you put a bunch of plants, everyone's going like 45 miles an hour, they're not gonna see them. And it would encourage people to walk up there too, because it would be shady. I mean, if you go on the land trust land to the areas where there's like shaded trails, it's just gorgeous. So I would focus on that for sure. Keep the trees, talk to everyone, make sure they don't cut them down, because some of them are little baby, and do the poppies and the daffodils. And that would maybe be the community
that-
volunteers would be great.
I think last year I think it was $1,000 and we bought wildflower seeds. So they didn't end up coming in last year, but I'm hoping this next year that
They might come
they'll
back.
come in a little.
They kind of are funny when they
That's
choose.
what I've
the bloom.
heard. Yeah. I kind of thought they would be there and then all of a sudden they weren't. And I was like, what happened? And then they said, well, some years they come in more and some years less. So it was kind of a.
And then with regard to your wall of flowers, if we do daffodils there, I have strong landscaping feelings. Make sure that we get them into like you do them in like little bunches, because if you do them like in Jackson, it really is a wall of flowers. It's not nearly as pretty. But like when Daffodil Hill used to be here, if you do them with you do them in little
bunches.
clusters, and it's much prettier.
So I will definitely come seek your advice on that.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So
And then one last thing, sorry, Julia, I'm all excited. I think that absolutely beautification and tourism, but to me, I don't think downtown Sutter Creek we've given enough attention. I like just that planter that I spent 4 hours weeding. That could have it could have a shade tree, but also just some more plants there, because there is irrigation there. And that's where I would really put the city works people on top of, because when you walk downtown, you're walking slower, you're spending more time, you're sitting at cabanas. And that to me is where we could get the bang for the buck. That's it.
I had one quick comment on number 9, Dan, and the notion of sprinkling systems and more natural grass. I just scratch my head. We're going to be spending a lot of money on water and maintenance for new grass down here by the park. And
Yeah.
I know the fake stuff has problems, and that Tom sent me a link, that artificial turf and that kind of thing may not be the answer, but I don't know, just planting more grass and doing more irrigation these days just doesn't seem like the play.
Yeah, that one, we talked, I think we talked to a wedding event.
Yeah, it
a
was
while ago.
more, we were thinking about a wedding space was what we were kind of going for there.
They
So.
were saying that, the space right along the creek, if it looked really nice, could be rented out and be like a wedding
Yeah,
spot.
but it's never going to look really nice. It gets way too much traffic. There's kids and dogs and
Yeah.
and it could, and that again, I would really lean into, and it's hip too, the native look. That's a creek bed. We can't put a beautiful lawn down there. Plus it'd be a fortune.
Yeah, I have to agree with you.
Okay.
You maintain it, you mow what you can and keep it clean, but to try to plant a lawn and landscape it. And I've been to weddings where they're in a cow pasture, and I've been to them just by the side of a creek or a lake, and there wasn't any special landscaping needed to have a wedding. So if somebody wants to get married down there by the creek, I think it's fine just the way it is.
Yeah, rustics in.
I always have to remember that when you talk
I would
about
drop-
adding new
I would drop
things,
9.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
that's just the tip of the iceberg, because then you have staff maintenance, you have weather, like with the watering. I would not be in favor of adding any more projects that require the extra work underneath the surface. Pardon the pun.
Okay, that's
Um,
good feedback.
So number 9. And then my other question is number 4. Is that a priority? Is that something that one of those projects that if we increase our carryover, that could be a targeted project? Or is the 20,000, so is $20,000 for the repairs? Because below you say eventually it's going to have to be replaced.
Yeah, 20,000 is to probably get a about 10-year-old truck.
Oh, okay, so that 20,000 is for the replacement,
Yeah. it'd
not
be a
just
replacement. Yeah.
Band-Aids.
Yeah. Not a Band-Aid. Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I mean, a 10-year-old truck is not really a replacement, but for us, it's a replacement.
Okay.
For anybody normal,
So that is
it would probably be a Band-Aid, but for us, it's a replacement.
Normal.
I'm just saying people that,
I resemble that.
Okay, one more thing with regards to the creek. I would love so much if we could restore the cottonwood trees that were down by that creek. When I moved here and I raised my children by that creek, it was so lovely. It was shady. They're native, I believe, and they got cut down. And there's maybe like a redwood tree that got planted there, which is not native. And maybe we'll do fine there because of the water from the creek. But that to me would be a way to attract people if they want to have an event there, because I don't know about you, but in summer in the sun, I don't do very well. So if we could somehow restore those cottonwoods by the creek, I think that would be a great way to improve that parcel.
No.
Because it was, I mean, they were
Cottonwoods
they were
are weed.
huge
They're,
trees.
I mean, cottonwoods are very problematic for us, like maintenance wise. So they run rampant.
Down by the creek, that's a problem.
No, it would be a problem.
Because they're happy and they're shady. I don't understand that. Like, they're happy. We want them to run rampant. We want shade. Like, raise your hand if you like to be outside in downtown Sutter Creek at 3 p.m. on July 11th.
So watching the clock here.
Yeah.
Let's try to get through the last couple of items. We do have some more items.
Sorry.
Again, code enforcement. Again, there's money there for potentially enforcement action. There's the money for the fire abatement, similar to last time, where
Right.
again, that money would come back, but it could take a while. I actually found out, I don't think we need number 3, the website support. Sounds
Oh.
like we already have it.
Okay, good.
And then on the public safety side, we've talked about the surveillance cameras. Those would be stationary cameras.
Those are your smart cameras.
Yeah, number 1. Number 2, I didn't know until recently, most of our police cars' cameras are broken. So these are the cameras that come on when an officer gets out of the car. I think two of the cars have working cameras right now. This number is actually 11,000, so it was a mistake. It's 11,000 for 5 years, so it'd be 55,000, but spread over 5 years.
Is that even legal for those cameras not to be working?
Well, we have new body cameras. They do have body cameras, but what you want is the car camera and body camera to work together, so you get
Yeah.
two views of the same thing. And then we get down to kind of relatively small stuff that, a radar gun and
Right.
computer and things.
I would like to see the color copier either reduced greatly for $4,000.
Is that a purchase, not
that a-
not a lease?
It's a purchase and it's one of those big.
Right.
So does that include any
copiers.
contract or anything? It's just,
So they have a couple of old
I
ones
would-
up there.
Right.
it just,
And I think the one they have is, I think Dominic bought it used somewhere and I think it's on its last legs.
Oh.
But
How much are the leases for the big ones? I always had the
Hmm.
leases on the,
yeah, we have a lease in the front office. I think, I don't know. I'm not convinced you end up paying more over time for what you're getting. I can take the feedback though. We can look around for something better, lower cost.
Do we do a lot of color copying?
Yeah, I think they do. And,
for the
and
investigations.
I asked about sharing and, sometimes
photos.
it's not stuff we'd want to print in the office printer downstairs,
oh,
you know.
The $85,000 from the agreement with Amador City, can that be 85,000? Can that be targeted to address some of these specific items?
If it comes through, yeah. It was just, I can't count on it right now, so.
No,
No, but when it does, then I'm just saying we have a little bit of a buffer.
if it does, I think
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Yeah.
the other
Far
if,
from a done deal.
the other if, as long as we're on ifs, is that my understanding with the potential marijuana dispensary thing is that if it gets to that, there's the opportunity to negotiate for some of this, some help with smart cameras and things like that. They've done that in other communities,
Yeah.
Just
I
FYI.
think they would pay for
the whole thing.
the number, yeah.
So. But we're
Okay.
not, we're
Well,
not
I think
counting.
you guys gave us a lot of good feedback, so, and I think I got a good sense of,
Good, that was a
Okay.
good exercise.
I mean, the discussion early on about, do you want to set a target? I think if we drop some of these bottom items, we'll see where we end up.
Yeah, let's do that.
What-
I was just kind of doing a mental, I think we're pretty close to actually 100,000 just in, just my own simple math.
Mhm.
So that's probably on the conservative end. So,
Good.
Okay.
thanks, Tom.
Yep.
Any other questions, comments?
No, thank you.
Public,
Hey, I was gonna
Do we have
email,
anybody on, do we have anybody on?
they can't comment anyway.
Oh, that's,
I just want to say real quick, I was gonna email it to you, Tom, but I'm just gonna say it because I just quick Googled, can police departments go paperless with investigation? And it's yes, and there's like a detailed thing from AI, so I'll send that to you.
all right, moving on to number B, information report on the swimming pool season.
Yeah, so, we've been kind of scrambling to get ready to open the pool, so apologies that didn't come to you before. We started selling passes today. And I'm really excited about Daphne Parker,
Parker.
who is our pool director. She's also Jackson's pool director. And she's also studying Parks and Rec Management, Sacramento State, and got a ton of energy.
Great.
There's a lot of good ideas. So she's going to be kind of in the background. She also does the lifeguard training in the county. So she's trained most of the people we're interviewing. So she kind of knows them when they come in. Kind of how I see it working. She's going to be doing the scheduling, approving the time cards, dropping in and making sure, things are going well. We're looking at having a pool manager who's college age, several years experience, and probably 2 assistant managers, with the idea that one of the managers or assistant managers will always be on site 7 days a week. And then,
Sorry, can I interrupt real quick?
yeah,
So I've been going to the pool for like 20 years, and Julie, I'm sure you could speak to this. They had a manager one year and it was ridiculous. Like the guy sat there, they
Yeah.
weren't,
these are all
The oversight.
so they would be like actually guarding as well. Okay. thank you.
And knowing Daphne personally, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, right on. Thank you.
So just so you know, yeah, they're all lifeguards, and then we'll have 6 lifeguards of varying levels of experience. And,
Great.
we're talking about getting a couple of first years so that they can get experience and come back next year. And, so I'm feeling good about the staffing. We were thinking about making them contractors, but then realized we really want workers' comp for these kids. So they have to be temporary employees. And they'll have some workers' comp coverage. They all have to be certified. We've got a couple that are going to be taking the training in May. And then kind of hired pending passing the training.
The report references some lifeguard training that occurred on March 25th and 28 and 29. And
Yeah.
did that happen?
I think one of them was canceled. So there's this
Okay.
one in May that's happening, which is kind of the last shot. And so the people
There's
that
also
interviewed-
so don't worry about those dates. We're working on that certification and
Yep.
training. Okay, thank you.
Is Daphne working on the publicizing the dates and the events? Because that's usually a hot ticket item for kids.
Yeah, it's been publicized.
Okay.
And it's out there. And I think we have 2 candidates that have signed up. And then I think everybody else we have is already certified.
Cool.
Great.
We're gonna have a day, I think we're targeting, I think we switched the state because it was Memorial Day weekend. Some of this has been changing. But we're gonna have a day with Dan and the police chief and Dominic, and where the kids are at the pool and go over kind of emergency procedures and
Good.
operating procedures. And then we're going to be open for the elementary school, I think, June 5th. Every year, I guess they have a kind of a private event before the pool opens on the 6th. We did change the pricing as well. So we said $225 for a family of 6 instead of 4. Everything else was the same. We began selling those today. We're not doing any group lessons this first year. We thought we'd keep it simple. So we have private lessons. So every week there's 4 slots for private lessons. And again, a lot of people we interviewed have taught lessons, and those will be probably the manager, assistant manager types.
Hey, Tom, on the 2-page color advertisement that's in here,
Yeah.
I just wanted to point out that the late summer schedule, I think it should be July 20th.
Yeah,
August 9th.
we
You
caught that.
that?
We changed
Cool,
that.
right on.
Yep.
Thank you.
So also a schedule on page 32 of our packet, on the very bottom, when it talks about this daily scheduling, it says Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Should that be Monday through Friday? Because the next bulleted item is Monday through Friday schedule, August 3rd through the 7th.
Yeah, no, so the water polo team is only going to practice Monday, Wednesday, Friday from.
But all the other lessons in that are going to be, everything else is going to be daily, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
So it was really just capturing that
got it.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the lap swim will move up an hour.
Okay.
One more thing, and it's just an idea, and I don't know if we would be able to implement it, but I've always thought that it would be amazing, and it might, maybe it would cost money, but I've always thought maybe it can make money for the pool, is to keep the pool open longer, just on the weekends, and maybe if you could retain some of those lifeguards, because shoot, it can be hot here till like October sometimes.
I think we've had to close like when the school opens, not the school is using the pool.
The only
Other-
time the only time the school uses the pool is the water polo program. So
Yeah.
that would be after school, but that would be Monday through Friday, but they don't use it on the weekends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So that
even
would be
through like
opportunity-
September 15th, because I know, and the kids go back to school so early too. And
Right.
I just have always wish the pool stayed open on the weekend.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea. A lot of our lifeguards are students, either at the high school or at colleges, and it's another.
They're leaving.
They
Just
leave.
an idea, maybe next year, if you
Yeah.
could
Yeah. that's
get
good.
the ones that are still in high school.
Yeah, and again, it's a lot of hours, these kids are gonna be working full time pretty much.
Is
And,
it something we could at least approach Daphne with, that if there's a lifeguard or two that would be available, that would be willing to do a weekend stint?
Yeah, we can talk about it.
Because I agree, it's, because people. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I hear
again,
great
there's been-
feedback from the improvements that the duck race was able to provide for the pool, like the tables and some extra, that really went a long way. That was greatly appreciated by their staff.
I think we're still working on the diving board, or is it done?
The new diving board?
Yeah, they had there's a rod in there that they didn't know about. And so when they pulled it out, that rod was deteriorated. So they had to go get another one. So they're sourcing that last week.
So they're putting in a 3-meter board then too? I'm kidding.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you to everyone for putting this together too, because it's just
A lot of work.
wonderful contribution to the community.
Yeah, everybody's kind of pitched in, and it's still coming together right at the last minute.
Yeah.
That's great.
We do have a no flipping rule on the diving board, though. That was a discussion.
All right, any other questions, comments regarding the pool? Great, that's all good news. Delinquent sewer notice?
Yeah, so there was an update to that. Hopefully you guys got the update. Again, I think we traditionally have brought this to you guys, mainly I think to see if there were exceptions or if somebody in the public wanted to show up. We will bring this back as a public hearing, within a month or so. But just guess traditionally you've had to look at it and then it comes back. Kind of the official one.
So is there extra attention given to those that are, say, at the $3,000 level delinquents or greater?
Yeah, so Mason wasn't feeling great, so I told him not to stay
Yeah.
here tonight, but I think channeling Mason, once this kind of goes out and starts, we typically get a group of people who come in and pay like all at once for some reason.
And I don't know if it's correct or not, but under the last payment column, some of it just seems incongruous, where the last payment is 2021, which is 5 years ago, and it's only up to $2,000. And others, I see the last payment is in 2025, and it's also at $2,000.
Well, after the year, it showed up on their property tax. So some people just seem to prefer to pay it as part of their property tax.
But if they're paying it,
So they haven't paid us since 2021, and every year we send them to collections with the county. I think that's what that's saying.
Huh.
So
how do we ever get the money?
the county collects it and sends it to us.
Is that on a periodic basis or a
As-
scheduled
It's
basis?
part of the annual property tax. So
I-
that's what this is. The next one would be a public hearing
Okay.
to send it to the county basically for collections. And then we get money, a couple months later or how long that takes.
It can take a while, doesn't
Take
it? More than
longer than that, yeah.
Apparently, I mean, I still don't get it. How can it be 2021, the last payment we got from somebody?
So 2020 was the last time they sent a check to the city of Sutter Creek. And then I think in 2022, we sent it to the county. In 2023, we sent it to the county.
But
So they are caught up, that they're just missing this year's. But they never pay us. They just pay it on their property tax.
That just
Okay.
indicates the last time they voluntarily
they
paid.
voluntarily paid.
Just
Oh, okay, so
check
it doesn't
the
really
city.
matter. That date is
Yeah.
kind of meaningless.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's the way to look at it.
Save yourself a column there. Great.
All right. Mayor, council member reports. Dan,
I don't have anything tonight. Thank you.
Jim,
No.
Susan? And I have none. City attorney's report. We let you speak at the beginning. We thought we'd let you close.
Well, I get to speak during closed session.
Yeah.
That's right.
I only like to speak behind closed doors.
All right, thank you. Given Derek has nothing, information and correspondence? I'm done. At this point, we will adjourn and go into closed session.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
2-minute break.
In record time, ladies and gentlemen.
And there was.
7:35. Not too shabby.
Did we